Success ain't just built with books and blueprints. It takes fire in your belly and clarity in your head. The mind will show the way, but emotion will make you rise when life knocks twice. Wisdom guides, but feeling fuels. Together, they build bridges where walls once stood. The mind calculates, but emotion motivates. This is not a war between logic and feeling. It is the rhythm of our humanity. One thinks, the other moves. One stands still in analysis, the other runs wild with desire. And in between them, we live, we strive, we break, and we rise again. The mind, oh, how precise it can be. It counts, measures, predicts, and waits. It will tell you when the market is right. It will map the shortest route, sketch the cleanest plan, and assess every risk. But the mind, for all its genius, cannot make your hands tremble with purpose. It cannot bring tears to your eyes when you speak your truth. That is the territory of emotion. Emotion is not weakness. It is fuel. It is the pulse in your throat when you speak of your dreams. It is the ache in your chest when you failed, and yet still get up the next day. The mind will whisper, "This is unwise," but emotion shouts, "Do it anyway, because it matters." And isn't that what drives success? Not just the knowing, but the wanting. Not just the structure, but the soul. We are told to be rational, to stay calm, to not let feelings get in the way. But what if feelings are not in the way? They are the way. What if emotion is the torch in the dark and the mind simply follows the light? Look closely at the people who've shaped this world. The inventors, the leaders, the artists, the builders, they did not simply think, they felt deeply, restlessly, desperately. They were stirred by a vision, touched by injustice, moved by love, provoked by fear, and inspired by beauty. And once that emotion caught flame, the mind got to work. The mind without emotion is a ship with no wind, perfectly built but stuck in the harbor. It will never move unless something pushes it. Emotion is that push. It is the mother who rises at dawn despite the pain in her bones. It is the young man who walks miles for opportunity because something in him believes he was made for more. Emotion is the trembling hands of the girl who speaks in a room that never invited her. It is the hunger in the heart that turns no into next. But the mind, let us not dismiss it, it too is sacred. Emotion without the mind is fire without a fireplace. It can burn wild and dangerous. It can consume you if it is not harnessed. Emotion may get you started, but the mind keeps you steady. The mind is the stillness after the storm, the pause before the leap, the plan behind the passion. It teaches you how to wait, how to choose, how to carry emotion wisely. Success is not just loud victories. It is often quiet decisions. And for that, you need the mind. Yet the truth remains. The mind will give you reasons, but only emotion can give you meaning. What is the use of a well-paved road if you have no reason to walk it? Emotion is the reason. It is the why behind every what. And if you forget your why, even the sharpest mind cannot save you from drifting. That's the thing about motivation. It doesn't live in your head. It lives in your chest, your gut, your bones. You feel it before you name it. So, which is stronger for success? The answer is not one or the other. The answer is knowing who leads and when. Sometimes you must let the mind take the wheel. Other times, the emotion must pull you forward when logic screams retreat. The wise learn the dance. They listen for the quiet of the mind and the thunder of the heart. And when the two walk together, they are unstoppable. Success isn't born in silence or strategy alone. It is born in the tension between thought and feeling. It is the courage to feel deeply and the wisdom to act carefully. The mind may calculate the cost, but emotion will make you pay it gladly. Emotion is the fire, the mind is the direction. One burns bright and bold, the other guides the flame. Without emotion, there is no heat. Without the mind, there is no path. And so, success, true, lasting, soul-filled success, requires both, the fire that drives and the direction that defines. Emotion comes first, always. It is the first beat of the heart when you see a vision not yet real. It is the goosebumps that rise when you speak about something you care about. Emotion ignites you. It wakes you up at night. It makes you restless. It makes you bold. It dares you to dream beyond reason, beyond logic, beyond safety. It is the spark that says, go anyway, even when the world tells you to wait. Emotion is the wind that carries your name across impossible valleys and heavy days. Without it, all ambition lies still. Yet fire without shape is chaos. Emotion left alone is a storm with no center. It roars, it flashes, it flares, and it can burn you down. That is where the mind steps in. The mind listens to the storm, watches the fire, and says, let me carry you where you belong. The mind does not kill the flame. It shelters it. It shapes it. It builds a lantern so the fire can light the way. It becomes the compass when the heat of passion threatens to make you lose your way. Emotion says, this is worth it. The mind says, here's how to get it. Emotion pulls you towards something that matters deeply. The mind breaks it into steps. Emotion paints the sky. The mind builds the ladder to reach it. They are not enemies. They are necessary partners. One cannot thrive without the other. Think of those who've done something remarkable, not just wealthy, not just recognized, but deeply impactful. They were not led by emotion alone, though their hearts were loud, nor were they guided only by intellect, though their minds were sharp. They were led by fire with a plan, passion with precision. They cried for change and then constructed it. They dreamed in color and then built in brick. They let emotion stir the dream and let the mind mold the discipline. Emotion will get you up in the morning, but the mind will make you keep showing up. The fire will make you start running, but the direction will make sure you're running towards something and not just away from pain. Emotion gives you reason to risk, but the mind teaches you how to do it wisely. When emotion and mind sit at the same table, they serve something greater than either one alone. People will tell you to quiet your feelings, to silence the fire, but without fire, the world grows cold. Without fire, no movements start, no art is made, no courage is born. At the same time, you cannot let emotion run wild, or you'll burn every bridge you build. The mind teaches you when to pause, when to speak, when to listen. It teaches you that passion alone doesn't win. Purpose and process do. You see, emotion may be the reason you begin something. You write because you feel. You speak because you care. You build because you believe. But you finish it because you planned. Because you didn't just burn. You moved with meaning. Emotion fuels the heart, but direction keeps the journey alive. There will be days the fire dies low, when nothing stirs in your chest. On those days, the mind becomes your keeper. It says, keep going anyway. There will also be days when the mind hesitates, calculates risk, fears the unknown. On those days, the fire will shout, jump! And that's the sacred tension. Success doesn't live in extremes. It lives in the space where fire and focus meet, where heat is guided, where direction is felt. Let your emotions stir the soul of your work. Let it remind you why you began. Then let your mind steady your hands, clear your path, and walk you forward. The fire makes you alive. The direction makes you arrive. Success needs strategy, but soul keeps you standing. It is easy to be impressed by plans, timelines, spreadsheets, and clean-cut goals. The world praises the strategist, the planner, the one who maps the mountain before the climb, and rightly so. Strategy is essential. You cannot build a house without blueprints, cannot win a war without tactics, cannot lead a life without some sense of direction. Strategy organizes effort. It saves time, energy, and heartbreak. But even the most brilliant strategy will fail you the moment life turns stormy, if you don't have soul to hold you steady. Because there will come a day when the plan doesn't work, when the steps you mapped out begin to blur, when the people you counted on fall away, or the road you thought was paved crumbles beneath your feet. On that day, the strategy won't keep you upright. Your soul will. The part of you that remembers why you started. The part that refuses to break even when everything else bends. That's what soul is. Not a song, not a feeling. Soul is the quiet strength behind your public performance. The thing no one sees but everyone feels. Strategy might win you a round, but soul keeps you in the ring. Soul is what speaks when the voice trembles. Soul is what walks when the legs shake. Soul is what shows up when the plan fails. Strategy says, let's make it work. Soul says, even if it doesn't, I'm not quitting. And when the two work together, when strategy is rooted in soul, you don't just succeed, you endure. You don't just rise, you rise whole. Look around at the ones who've made it, not just to the top of some ladder, but into the hearts of people. They are not just brilliant thinkers or savvy planners. They are deep feelers. They've been through fires that strategy alone couldn't put out. They've stood in places where logic ran out, but their soul, anchored in purpose, pain, and persistence, kept them upright. That kind of strength isn't taught in books. It's learned through staying, through failing and returning, through falling and rising. You can study all the methods, follow all the models, rehearse all the steps. But if you don't have soul in what you do, people will feel the emptiness. And more than that, you will feel it. You'll start to wonder why you're still tired, even when things are going well. You'll have success on the outside, but nothing holding it up on the inside. That's the danger of strategy without soul. It can lead you somewhere you never really meant to be. And still, let's not discount the strategy. Soul without direction can get lost. Passion without process can burn out. But when you lead with soul, your strategy becomes sacred. It becomes more than clever. It becomes rooted in truth. You begin to build from a place of purpose, not just performance. You begin to plan in a way that serves not only your goals, but your growth. Soul doesn't shout. It doesn't show off. It doesn't need applause to keep going. It is the silent strength behind the scene. It is what helps you sleep at night when nothing is certain. It is what makes your work feel like a calling, not just a chore. It is the voice that says, this matters, even when there's no money, no fame, no fanfare. It's what gives you the strength to say no to things that glitter but don't grow you. It's what makes your success real and lasting. Because the truth is, there's a kind of failure that comes from the wrong kind of success, the kind that looks good on the outside but leaves you empty on the inside. Soul protects you from that. It keeps you grounded. It reminds you that you're not just building a name, you're building a legacy. You're not just chasing numbers, you're chasing meaning. So yes, study the map, design the strategy, make it tight, make it clear, but when the storms come, and they will, it won't be your steps that keep you standing, it will be your soul, the part of you that knows who you are, the part of you that refuses to sit down, stay small, or sell out. Strategy may open the door, but soul is what walks through it and stays standing once you're inside. Logic wins the moment, passion wins the marathon. In the brief flash of a decision, logic may save you. It will weigh the risks, choose the smartest move, and keep you safe from reckless falls. Logic is sharp, quick, and precise. It is the mind's defense against chaos, a guardrail that keeps you from veering off course. But logic is not made to carry the long, winding road of becoming. It is built for the moment, not for the miles. Passion, however, is a different kind of power. It doesn't move fast, it moves deep. It is not always neat, nor always rational, but it burns. And that fire doesn't fade in the face of distance or difficulty. Passion stays when logic says, this is too hard. Passion pushes when the facts say, this can't be done. It is not that logic is wrong. It's just that logic often doesn't see beyond the present frame. Passion, on the other hand, is vision. It doesn't ask what's probable. It asks what's possible. You see, logic wants proof. Passion wants belief. And the truth is, most great things begin not with proof, but with belief. No one can calculate the full cost of a dream before stepping into it. No one can fully predict the heartbreak, the detours, the waiting. Logic may convince you to start small, or maybe not at all, but passion will have you running towards something long before it makes sense. Passion doesn't need a reason, it becomes the reason. Now let's be clear, logic is not the enemy, it is essential. Without logic, passion can become dangerous, blind, erratic, destructive, but logic without passion is sterile. It will keep you comfortable but never hungry. It will help you win arguments but not hearts. It will help you survive but not thrive. Logic is the spark of a single decision. Passion is the slow burn that fuels every step after. Consider the moments when you were closest to giving up. Not the moments when things were easy and smooth, but when the path was lonely, the results were delayed, and the wait felt too much. In those moments, logic probably told you to quit. It likely listed all the reasons why stopping made sense. But if you kept going, it wasn't because of logic. It was because something deeper was burning. That was passion. That was purpose refusing to be extinguished. There are those who are brilliant in thought and they win quick games. They know the right words, the right formulas, the right steps. But when the game stretches into weeks, months, years, when failure becomes familiar and progress moves slowly, it's not brilliance that sustains them, it's love. Love for the work, love for the vision, love for what it all means. Passion isn't louder than logic, it's just more faithful. People often mistake passion for noise. But passion isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's the writer who keeps showing up to the page with no promise of publication. It's the teacher who stays late because she believes in one more student. It's the parent who works 2 jobs, not because they calculated it, but because love made it non-negotiable. That's passion. It's not impulsive, it's committed. It's not always exciting, but it's enduring. Logic sees the finish line and says, how far is it? Passion sees it and says, I'm going, no matter how far. Logic may win you applause in the short run, but passion earns respect over time, because anyone can show up once. Few keep showing up when there's no crowd, no reward, no clear result. So yes, use logic, use it wisely. Let it guide your daily steps, help you navigate the choices, and protect you from avoidable harm. But don't lean on it so hard that you forget why you began. Don't let logic strip the soul from your work. Let passion lead the long race. Because it's not the smartest who finish. It's the ones who feel it in their bones. The ones who hurt and keep going. The ones who cry and still rise. The ones who love what they do enough to do it long after the reasons run out. The mind and the heart, the reason and the rhythm, logic and emotion, each powerful alone but unstoppable together. When one leads and the other listens, when they trade roles with grace, something remarkable happens. That's where true greatness begins, not in choosing between them, but in letting them move as one. The mind can chart the stars. It can solve, structure, and simplify. It's the architect of plans, the protector of purpose. The mind says, here is the safest way forward. It calculates, it conserves, it corrects. But the mind, for all its brilliance, has no pulse. It doesn't ache, it doesn't long, it doesn't dream. It sees what is, but not always what could be. Emotion, on the other hand, is wild with wonder. It feels the invisible. It dances in possibility. It sees meaning where the mind sees math. Emotion is what breaks you open when you hear truth. It's what moves you to tears, to fight, to create, to rise. But emotion can also drown. It can spin you in circles. It can burn out before it breaks through. Greatness doesn't lie in choosing between the two. It lives in the choreography between them. The heart moves, the mind guides, the heart leaps, the mind steadies, the heart dreams, the mind builds. When they dance, when one doesn't try to dominate the other, but instead follows the music, they create more than success. They create legacy. Think of the ones who've changed the world. They weren't just emotional beings moved by cause, and they weren't just intellectuals working through formulas. They had both. They cried, and then they created. They felt deeply, and then they did something with it. They let their heart break, and then they built something from the pieces. They listened to the beat of their soul and used the mind to carry it into action. You see, feeling alone can stir a crowd, but it takes thought to build a movement. Logic alone can build a system, but only emotion can make people care enough to change it. When they move together, when the fire of emotion is held in the strong hands of reason, you don't just have heat, you have direction, and with direction, you can move mountains. In real life, this dance shows up quietly. It's not just in speeches or in art, it's in the everyday decisions. The mother who wants to protect her child, emotion, but also knows she must let them fall sometimes to grow, logic. The young dreamer who feels a calling to create but also takes time to study the craft. The entrepreneur who is lit up by a mission but grounds it in real steps, in discipline, in patience. It takes both. Emotion keeps you soft. Logic keeps you sharp. Emotion reminds you what matters. Logic reminds you how to make it matter. Emotion will get you in the room. Logic will help you speak wisely once you're there. One without the other is incomplete. Together, they're divine. But this dance isn't always easy. There will be days the heart wants to sprint when the mind knows it's not time. There will be moments when logic says no to something your whole soul screams yes to. The beauty is in the balance. The wisdom is in the pause. To stop, to breathe, to ask, which part of me is speaking now and which one should lead today? Because greatness is not about moving fast. It's about moving true, not just with brilliance and not just with feeling, but with both in harmony. That's when your decisions begin to carry weight. That's when your presence feels full, not forced. That's when your words don't just sound good, they land deep. Let the mind do what it was made to do, guide, protect, plan, but never silence the heart. Let it burn, let it cry, let it push, and when one grows tired, let the other carry the weight. That's how they dance. Not in competition, but in communion. And when they dance together, when the soul sings and the mind scores the melody, greatness is no longer a destination. It becomes a rhythm you live in, a quiet power that builds step by step, beat by beat. And in that rhythm, something lasting is born, something worthy, something whole. The mind is a fortress built from reason, logic, and facts. It shields you from rash decisions, guides your path with clarity, and keeps you grounded when the world spins too fast. It helps you make sense of the chaos, step back from the storm, and see with sober eyes. But the mind, for all its strength, is not the full story. On its own, it can become a prison, safe, yes, but silent. Measured, yes, but motionless. Because the mind may know what to do, but it can forget why. The heart, on the other hand, beats loud and wild. It knows what it wants without needing words. It carries memories, love, fear, hope, and fire. It pushes you forward when everything logical says stop. It brings tears to your eyes when your soul is stirred and gives you courage when nothing else makes sense. Emotion breathes life into your work, your relationships, your dreams. But without reason, the heart can become reckless. It rushes in when patience is needed. It believes without checking the facts. Alone, it can light a flame that burns too fast. Neither alone is enough. The mind without the heart becomes cold. The heart without the mind becomes blind. But together, in harmony, they create power, deep, lasting, and rooted. When logic and emotion are not at war but walking hand in hand, you are no longer just thinking or just feeling. You are living fully. You are building something strong and soulful. You are not just making decisions, you are making meaning. The greatest leaders, the most impactful artists, the most enduring change makers, none of them operated with only intellect or only emotion. They were not just thinkers or feelers, they were both. They had vision and discipline, fire and focus. They dreamed like poets and planned like architects. And that's why they didn't just start something, they stayed with it. They didn't just imagine a better world, they helped build it. Harmony doesn't mean silence, it means rhythm. It means knowing when to let the mind speak and when to let the heart lead. There will be times when logic should take the wheel, when the stakes are high, when precision matters, when emotion clouds the view. But there will also be times when emotion must rise, when something must be fought for, when truth must be spoken, when love must be chosen over convenience. To live in harmony is to respect both forces within you, to listen when the mind says, wait, but not ignore the heart when it says, this matters. To let intellect draw the blueprint, but let emotion color the walls. It's not about dominance, it's about dance. Not a battle, but a blending. That's where your full strength lives, not in either side alone, but in their union. And it's not always easy. The world teaches you to pick one, be rational, be logical, be hard, or be free, be raw, be feeling. But what if you can be both? What if you don't have to choose between wisdom and wonder, between structure and soul? The power is in the balance. The kind of power that can carry you through hardship without becoming bitter, that can love deeply without losing yourself, that can lead others not just with brilliance, but with empathy, that can chase big dreams and still find joy in the small moments. That is the power harmony brings, not loud, not showy, but steady and real. In your work, in your relationships, in the quiet choices that shape your life, remember this. You are not just a mind or a heart, you are both. And your truest power is not in mastering one, but in honoring both. When they stop pulling against each other, when they start moving together, that's when things shift. That's when clarity becomes conviction, when effort becomes artistry, when the journey becomes a calling. So think deeply. Feel fully. Let one steady the other. Let one lift when the other lags, because neither alone is enough. But together, they are a force that builds, heals, leads, and lasts. That is where power lives, in the harmony that holds it all. In the quiet intersection of thought and feeling, true greatness is born. The mind offers clarity, the heart offers conviction, and it is in their unity that purpose finds its path. Strategy may start the journey, but soul carries it. Logic wins battles, but passion wins the war. One alone can only take you so far. Together, they take you all the way. When the fire of emotion is guided by the direction of reason, when discipline meets desire, when love stands on the shoulders of wisdom, power, lasting and rooted, begins to rise. So do not choose between mind and emotion. Let them dance, let them build, let them belong to each other. That is not weakness, that is not conflict, that is power in harmony, and it is the truest key to meaningful success.